Roger Moore has been with us, I don't know how many years, and it almost doesn't matter because every time I see him, he brings peace of mind to me. Um, and he's never asked me for a piece of my mind, and I've probably given it a couple of times, but it's all in good gesture. But I will say that to know Roger Moore is to love life and to love him, and to know that anxiety and sleeplessness and focus and so many issues can be resolved if we just listen to what he has to say, and then listen to our hearts and listen to ourselves. Roger Moore, I am so grateful that you are in our sphere of influence. Thank you so much. What would you like to talk about tonight?
Well, thanks, Joe, and it's so great to be here. And I was listening to Michael. I was thinking, wow, I wish we would have had this for my mom. She didn't have Parkinson's, but she lived to be 96. And those last few years of her life, she'd forget that she shouldn't bend over and pick up Kleenex, and she'd reach over and pick up her Kleenex and then keep on going. And my sister would have loved it. I think my mom might not have liked it so much because she was always excited when those young boys, as she called them, the fire department would come and pick her up. And that was the thrill of her day. So you might not have liked it so much. All right. It's always good to be here. And Joe, thank you for this opportunity. Let me get my screen share set up here. There we go. All right. So I'm Roger Moore. I'm a medical hypnotherapist and have a master's in marriage family therapy and enough after grad school credits for a doctorate that it's like, what's the point? I've been doing medical hypnosis for the last 27 years and counseling in one form or another for about 47 years. And the work that I do is integrative medical hypnosis, which means that I work along with the medical community. I'm not in place of or instead of. You'll find me sometimes in a cancer center in the booth with the radiologist, talking somebody through radiation treatment or through chemo treatment or whatever it might be. I work with you and with the physician, the medical team in support of and not in place of. The way I really got into the medical end of things was back in 1996. I weighed 120 pounds more than I do now. And that's not me at my heaviest. There aren't any pictures of that. Today, I'm an avid bicyclist. I was on Maui this year for the tour of Palm Springs, so I didn't make it. But this is a few years ago, and I have done it. And I've done it pretty much every year except for this one since. And it was because of my passion in helping people to take weight off and keep it off that I really got into the medical end of things. And while I was focused so on weight loss, I started getting referrals from people with Parkinson's, with cancer, with autoimmune diseases, with other health issues, a lot of anxiety, chronic pain. And that's been my primary focus now for a number of years. Those of you who know me, Bobby and others, know that I like to start out with doing Roger's Wiggle. And so if everybody join in with me, please just wiggle your toes and wiggle your butt. Take a deep breath in through your nose and let it out through your mouth. And just notice the shift that occurs within you. Generally, what I'll see is breathing goes deeper in the body, breathing slows down. It's just a very quick, silly, simple, and powerful mindfulness technique, stress reduction technique. And the beauty of the wiggle, you can be in front of a group of people and nobody's going to notice you wiggling your toes. They aren't. Even if you have bare-toed shoes or barefoot, they're just not going to notice it and pay attention to that. It's not like you have to do the twist or anything like that in front of them. Just the thought of the silliness of being here in front of all these people wiggling my butt is going to create that internal grin, that internal giggle, and you breathe in, you breathe out. It gets you back here in your body. And the thing that I keep talking about and place that I try to get people to is this place of being here now in the moment, in this moment, right now. In spite of it being 52 degrees outside and winds hitting 18 miles an hour, I'm okay. In spite of having Parkinson's, when people get present and conscious, in spite of that illness in the moment, they're okay. The past isn't happening, the future isn't happening. All we have is this moment. And if we can stay in this moment, then it's amazing the healing that can occur. It's amazing the things that we can accomplish in life and let go of all the fears and stresses and anxieties. So, real briefly about hypnosis. First of all, please know that all hypnosis is self-hypnosis. I do not hypnotize anybody. I tell stories. You do all the creative work. You're always in a hypnotic trance. You're never not. When you're going, woe is me and what awful and what about this and what about that, you're in that worry trance. People who eat too much food too fast are in a overeating trance. You drive down the road, you hear the first note of a song on the radio that you haven't heard since high school, and you start singing it, you just went into radio trance. We're always in a hypnotic trance. Hypnosis isn't at all about being out of control. It is the ultimate state of self-control. You cannot be controlled by anybody else in spite of what you see in Vegas or the 3rd Street Promenade or the State Fair, or remember from your high school show or whatever it was. Nobody can have control over you. So what happens with hypnosis is suggestions are given. They go in the conscious mind. The conscious mind looks at the suggestion and says, do I want this? And the conscious mind is the home of temporary memory. Your name is a temporary memory. Your partner's name is a temporary memory. Your phone number and address are all temporary things. It's the Spock mind. It's the one that is rational and analytical. It's the one that has the willpower. But willpower is short-lived. Anybody who's ever tried to diet on willpower or quit smoking on willpower knows it takes all this energy and it lasts a very short period of time and then people lose it. Okay. Willpower doesn't work. Assuming I give you suggestions that you like about being calm, about being relaxed, that anytime you feel the least bit of stress, tension, anxiety, you take a deep breath in through your nose, let it out through your mouth, maybe have a sip of cool, relaxing water. And if you're in agreement on that suggestion, anytime you feel stress and tension, your body's going to start asking for a breath and for water. So assuming you're in agreement, or we are in agreement on the suggestions, then they go into the subconscious mind. And the subconscious mind goes in and makes it so, okay? Subconscious mind is the home of imagination, okay? And we're always imagining things. And I'm going to talk more about that in a moment. The subconscious mind is the home of permanent memory. Permanent memory is your heart is beating without you consciously thinking about it. It's breathing in and breathing out. It's muscle movement. You don't consciously, as you wiggle your fingers, you're not consciously thinking about every tiny little nerve and muscle involved in that. It just happens. That's permanent memory. Subconscious mind is home of emotions, which is one of the reasons people get into trouble with things like overeating and smoking and gambling and drugs and other addictions is, they get in that place of fear and worry and stress and whatever, not good enough, and they try to meet those emotions on a physical level. And the subconscious mind is also protective. So when we're stressed, we get a burst of energy. That's good. We have heightened memory function. We have a burst of increased immunity, but it's pretty short-lived. And for the moment, we have a lower sensitivity to pain. But over the long haul, what happens is we end up with impaired cognitive performance. There's suppressed thyroid function, blood sugar gets imbalanced, there's decreased bone density, high blood pressure, lowered immunity, and increased abdominal fat. So back in the days when we lived in jungles and caves and wherever else we might have lived, that saber-toothed tiger would start chasing us, and we'd have a burst of energy, a burst of stress, and we'd outrun the tiger. Stress was a really cool thing. At night, we'd be sitting around the campfire roasting our Twinkies or whatever it was, and the tiger would come up behind us and go on to us and start eating us alive. We'd go into shock. It was a burst of stress, a burst of energy. We'd have that shock, and we'd have a fairly painless death. Stress was a really good thing. But here we are today, most of us not literally being chased by the saber-toothed tiger, although I was reminded today that taxes are due in about 6 weeks and we haven't started. So that was kind of a moment of, tiger. But, there's taxes, there's political things, there's illnesses, there's environmental things, there's all this crazy weather we're having, whatever it might be, those are all tigers that we get going in our mind, and the imagination is running amok. And the problem is most of us aren't running. We aren't literally running. See, when we outran the tiger, we burn up the cortisol and it was no harm. But when we're sitting here at our computers or sitting with the remote in our hand watching the tube or driving down the road, we aren't running, and most people aren't doing the cardio activity necessary to burn up that stress, that adrenaline. And the cells in your body react to everything that your mind says. So when you're thinking about this and what about that, and what if this happens, and what if that happens, it brings down your immune system. It weakens the immune system. And the crazy thing is about this imagination and all this stress, all these things that we worry about, 87% of what we worry about never happens. And we worry about the craziest things, and it never happens. And we end up doing a lot of harm to our bodies with all that imagined fear and worry. And the other thing about all that stress and worry is often the things that we are so terrified of and imagining the worst of actually turn out to be kittens. They turn out to be wonderful things, nothing to be afraid of. And when we can stay in the moment and stay present and acknowledge, oh, I need to get in gear here and start getting things together and do our taxes, and I'm staying in the moment, I could be calm and relaxed about it and do what I need to do to pull it all together and make it happen. Or I can waste a lot of time and energy. Oh my goodness, I can't believe I waited this long, and I'm going to and drive myself crazy, drive my wife crazy, and create lots of unnecessary stress and anxiety. So over the past 26 years, people who have Parkinson's have reported improvements to me in areas like flexibility, reduced tremors, balance and mobility, reduced anxiety, improved peace of mind, better mood, more motivated and engaged in life. I do a lot of work with pain reduction, increasing comfort instead of focusing on pain, focusing on increasing comfort. Better sleep, improved memory, and reduce stress and anxiety. In integrative medical hypnosis, things that are fairly common to work with, well, not so much anymore, but it used to be AIDS. I do a lot of work with people on aging, autoimmune disease, cancer, chronic fatigue, chronic pain, dementia, Alzheimer's, dentistry, diabetes, end of life, fibromyalgia, hypertension, incontinence. I have a first session with a gentleman tomorrow who's had cancer, and we're focused on incontinence, or actually focused on increasing continence. IBS, Lyme disease, menopause, MS, neuropathy, non-organic male impotence, Parkinson's, pregnancy, rheumatoid arthritis, surgery, and then not so much anymore. I used to do quite a bit of opioids or withdrawal from drugs and alcohol. I generally refer that on to somebody else now because I'm busy with the other things. And
can I interrupt for a moment?
Yeah, sure.
Okay, so I would like to, not tonight particularly, but I'd like to further our conversation on incontinence and what you can do there. It might be a segment that we want to pull out of this and do something either in the newsletter or someplace else. I'd also, under Parkinson's disease, I thought about this earlier when you said you were talking somebody through going through either an x-ray or something. Deep brain stimulation is a stressful idea. And so I'd love to see you add that as a subtitle under Parkinson's disease, because I think it's something that you and I can have a conversation about and probably help a lot of people who are going through DBS.
Awesome. All right. I'm making a note of that.
Okay.
And I moved my cursor and now I can't figure out how to get back to where I was. There we go. Okay, it's happening.
There we are. Okay.
All right. I have a book called The Greatest Expression of You. Many of the tools, techniques that I teach are covered in there. I would urge you, and Eileen, if you're available, could you post the link to Orange Blossom in the chat box?
Yeah, I'll put that in there in just one moment.
Thanks. Orange Blossom is a 27-minute MP3. It's a recording. You can either stream it, or what I recommend is you download it and listen to it from your phone that way, or whatever device you use. It is a relaxation MP3. Many people around the world go to sleep with it. Last time I looked at the counter, and I don't pay a whole lot of attention anymore, but it was a few months ago, it was at 113,000 downloads, and then people share it all the time that I don't know about it. But I would encourage you to listen to it. And I encourage you to listen daily for at least 2 weeks. The intent is that anytime you do feel stress, tension, anxiety, anytime you experience a tremor, that or you have physical pain, discomfort, mental pain, emotional pain, that you simply say or think Orange Blossom, and that you feel a wave of relaxation flow over you. Okay, it can get down to being that simple, that you train yourself to be able to do that, that you can relax that quickly, get out of the fear trance, the anxiety trance, the stress trance, and get back here simply by saying the words Orange Blossom. And some people prefer to choose cherry blossom or apple blossom. It makes no difference. And people have told me that they're driving down the road and they see an orange highway cone, and they immediately think of Orange Blossom. Or they see an orange school bus, they immediately think of Orange Blossom. So it's just connecting the color orange, the word Orange Blossom, to calming down and relaxing. Okay. So we're going to do a little bit of hypnosis in a couple minutes. But before I do that, does anybody have any questions?
Do you by any chance have the Orange Blossom on a DVD?
Not anymore. No.
Okay.
No.
Or a CD?
No, not anymore.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I'm going to have to step up to the plate and get it on my phone, huh?
Yep. Do you have a CD player?
I do I have a what?
A CD player?
I do. I listen to my meditations at nighttime on my CD player. Yeah.
Download it onto your phone.
Okay. Got to figure that out.
All right.
All right. Carry on.
Any other questions?
Do you know what's really nice? I don't know if everybody listening, there is such calmness comes just from you, Roger. such calmness comes. Thank
Oh,
you.
thank you. Thank you. No questions? So, feel free at any point in time to email me or call me with questions that you might have. Oh, I know also, I forgot to mention, the third Tuesday of every month at from 2 to roughly 3:30, I lead a PRO mindfulness support group. And we're focusing right now on John Kabat-Zinn's mindfulness techniques. And there's no charge for attending. We talk about mindfulness or whatever the topic of right now. We're doing mindfulness, but we do other topics from time to time. And then always end with hypnosis. And if you've ever done guided meditation, you've done hypnosis. If you've ever watched TV and you're watching The Big Bang Theory and you burst out laughing, you're doing hypnosis. We're always in a hypnotic trance. We're never not. So there's nothing to be concerned about or fearful of. Those are all the old Hollywood myths of, the Svengali myths of being controlled. And anytime in this process that you need to wiggle or squirm or scratch an itch or make yourself more comfortable, whatever, feel free to do so. Just because you're relaxing does not mean you're frozen and can't move. And also please know that you can be really calm and relaxed and fully energized. I still work with the Bainbridge Island boys, high school boys lacrosse team, do it online now virtually. And one of the things is that we really focus on with those guys is that they can be out there on the lacrosse field, calm, relaxed, totally focused, and totally energized. Okay. They can be calm and relaxed and outrun the bigger players. Whereas what was happening before is they go into fear and panic and they do so well in practice and then they get into the game and freeze up. Well, you can be calm and relaxed and energized. And just one other thing on Orange Blossom, please never, ever, ever listen to it driving down the road. Every once in a while I get a comment of they had a hard time staying awake driving and listening to it. Do not do that. Okay. All right, so just go ahead and get comfortable and close your eyelids. And bring your attention to your breathing. We'll begin here because it's a great place to begin. And just notice the rise and fall of the breath. It's fascinating how often we go through life rarely paying attention to our breath. Just allowing it to happen automatically day by day without really thinking about it. It's not that you really need to breathe in any special way, just simply observe the breath. Paying attention to what it feels like to inhale and what it feels like to exhale. And as you breathe in, you may want to even say to yourself in your mind, in as you breathe in, and as you breathe out, saying out. And notice how when you're paying attention to your breath, you've directed your focus away from any other thoughts of the mind. Notice how throughout this process, as I bring attention to parts of your body, notice that you may discover that tremor in the leg or hand or arm diminishes, maybe even disappears for a moment because you're focused somewhere else. You may notice that fears and anxieties, upsets dissipate because you stop focusing on them and focus somewhere else. And so as you breathe in and breathe out, just move your awareness from your breath to your hands. Notice your hands resting supported. Some of you may actually know what I'm doing here. It's technically called autogenic training. But as you focus on your hands, think of the word heavy. And say to yourself, my hands are heavy. My hands are heavy. My hands are heavy. As you say this to yourself, just let your hands be heavy. Now, you may literally feel an increased weight, or you may simply just concentrate and notice the natural weight of your hands. Either way, think now of the word warm. Warm like the warmth that comes from the sun, or the natural warmth from your body. And as you focus on those hands, let those hands also be warm and heavy. And say to yourself, my hands are warm and heavy. My hands are warm and heavy. And it's amazing. It's amazing as you focus on, or may even feel this extraordinary heaviness, as if the more you focus, the heavier those hands become, or warm, hands becoming warm as sunshine, whether you feel that sensation or not, just direct that focus on warmth in the hands, heaviness in the hands. And now direct your attention to your feet. Those feet relaxing on the surface that supports them. Notice how heavy they are, supported perfectly, as you say to yourself, as if by noticing your feet and their natural weight resting heavily on that surface. Noticing their natural weight, they automatically seem to feel heavier. And now saying into your mind, my feet are warm and heavy. My feet are warm and heavy. And just notice how heavy and how warm those feet become. And just take a moment and notice other changes, shifts within your body. Notice if any tremors have calmed or quieted. Notice any shifts in breathing and thoughts and emotions. And now just think to yourself about your forehead. Allow your forehead to be cool and smooth. And say to yourself, my forehead is cool and smooth. Now, the beauty of autogenic training is you can do this yourself so simply and so easily throughout each and every day. Simply by directing your attention, perhaps to your heart rate being calm, steady, to your solar plexus being calm and relaxed. Just notice that you can redirect your attention and your intention. And the other beauty of this is that tonight you can crawl in bed and quickly and easily go into a deep, sound, restful, restorative sleep, awaking in the morning relaxed and refreshed and energized and totally excited about the new day. And between now and going to bed tonight, you can be wide awake, fully alert, steady on your feet, energized to do the things you want to do, need to do, and be calm and relaxed. So just go ahead now, please, and wiggle your toes, and wiggle your butt. Take a deep breath in through your nose, let it out through your mouth. Bring your awareness and your attention back into that room, into your body. And whenever you're ready, gently open your eyelids. Welcome back, everybody. And thank you. Thank you for being here tonight.
That was a wonderful, wonderful respite.
And thanks, Joe.
Can we do this again tomorrow?
Sure.